Well, hello there, fellow geeks and geekettes, and welcome to another review video. Or, well, review is not really a review. I'm sure this will not be a proper review. If you want to see a proper review, I don't know why you would, but go somewhere else. Just watch some other YouTuber or go to the internet and read some other articles. But this is more of a couple of words from somebody who has felt hope after a long time. Who felt hope after years of despair and depression and battling with anxiety. Yesterday evening, when I watched the final episode of the second season of The Mandalorian. Now, this comes from a lifelong fan of Star Wars. I grew up with the Star Wars films. I saw Star Wars when I was 3 years old for the first time. That's when I saw A New Hope, or Star Wars back then, when my father brought home the VHSs of A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back and The Return of the Jedi. And then, come 1999, my parents took me to cinema for the first time in my life. And I saw The Phantom Menace. It was an experience that made me a lifelong Phantom Menace fan, and I even do like Jar Jar Binks, and I'm not ashamed of it. I stand my ground, and I'm quite proud of liking Jar Jar Binks. So, I'm not sure if everybody can understand this. Certainly, people like me, psychos, who are invested in the franchise as much as I do, they do, but normies, no. They will call me a wimpy and whiny bitch. But I'm used to it. I don't really care. I don't give a flying flock. So what? I saw it twice since yesterday, and I'm still very emotional. It's still very difficult for me to articulate an intelligent thought. But I don't suppose it's going to get any better in a couple of days. So why not make a video right now? So just to get to the point, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau saved Star Wars. They have saved Star Wars for everybody. After the disastrous sequel trilogy that was made by Disney and that was farted out, or that was farted out by Kathleen Kennedy's agenda, Star Wars was in a very bad place, and a lot of people didn't like Star Wars. And those people who liked Star Wars, they were from a huge part, those were people who didn't really understand the world or the universe. It was mainly young people who didn't really see the first 6 episodes. I have met and talked with people that have only seen the sequel trilogy, so you can't really blame them for liking the sequel trilogy, because they were nice action films. They just fucked up the Star Wars franchise, is all. So for normies, yeah, sure. I mean, my parents liked the sequel trilogy, and my parents know Star Wars, but they are not as invested in the franchise as I am, of course, and obviously. So for normies, I can see why they like the sequel trilogy, but for people like me, people who are very invested in art, and people who live their lives by art, by making art actively and consuming art passively each and every day, this is very important. And people would just say, oh no man, it's just films. How can you feel so emotional about films? How can you be so angry about films? It's just films, just fiction. Live your life. I mean, how do you want to live your life these days? If you are a man in today's society, looking like me, I'm not a part of any marginalized group. It's the 20th century. There's a fucking pandemic in the world. Whether you believe in the actual disease or the virus or not, it's not relevant right now. The fact is that there are many restrictions and lockdowns in the world. People are changing, people are more violent, people are more afraid of both the world and each other. People have been losing the ability to socialize more and more, even before the fucking virus. and that resulted into, well, things that, you know, in the situation that's very different from what I can remember when I was a little kid, when I was able to freely meet with my friends and talk, and not even a little kid, like even 10 years ago, I was able to go somewhere, go out and talk with my friends. I used to take bus to school when I was going to the secondary school, and the bus was going for a half an hour, maybe for 40 minutes, and I was taking the bus with my friend who lives just like 5 minutes from here, and we used to spend the 40 minutes of the ride talking about Star Wars every morning. Because he was the same as I am. He grew up with Star Wars. He loved Star Wars. He was invested by it. Not as much as I am as far as the different collectibles and memorabilia go, but he loved Star Wars. And we were both not only invested in the films, but in the expanded universe, which is now called Legends. You know, such as novels like The Shadows of the Empire, or Timothy Zahn's trilogy, and then later, much later, novels like Kenobi. And comic books when it was still published by Dark Horse, because I, you know, read Star Wars comics when they were published by Dark Horse. After they were Marvels, and then now they are Marvels again. But I don't read modern Marvel comics. So yesterday was very special for me, and now the spoilers will come. After seeing Luke Skywalker in the sequel trilogy being fucked with and ending up as a destroyed and depressed man who abandoned the Force and locked himself away from the Force and spent his life living on an abandoned island with alien nuns drinking blue tea from an alien cow's teat, being a complete cuck and an idiot, and the entire sequel trilogy being led by a character who got basically no character development. I'm talking about Rey, because she started perfect and she ended perfect. There was no way anybody could really feel for Rey. There was no chance for us to feel the catharsis for Rey, because she didn't go through any trials and tribulations. She knew everything, she could do everything right from the beginning, and you could see that it's only Kathleen Kennedy's agenda. All it was Kathleen Kennedy's agenda. And then there was this dispute between J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson. When J.J. did the first one, Ryan did the second one, J.J. did the third one, and it all got fucked up. And after all this fucking mess, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau came, and all the other people that were involved in The Mandalorian, all the great actors such as Pedro Pascal and Gina Carano, Carl Weathers, and they made Luke Skywalker great again. They have retconned the entire sequel trilogy by this. The moment, I mean, I knew it was Luke who came to save them right at the moment when the X-Wing appeared, because it was a single X-Wing. It could have been the two Rangers or the two sheriffs, one of them, of course, being Dave Filoni, but it could have been then, but it was just one X-Wing. And when one of the Mandos said, it's just one X-Wing, and Gina Carano, or Cara June, said, one X-Wing, we're saved. And I was like, and at this moment, I got really, really emotional. I started shaking, and the moment I saw Luke, because, you know, it was obvious that it was Luke. We could be very much sure there was Luke Skywalker when we saw the hilt of his lightsaber, and at that moment I started crying, obviously, and I'm not ashamed of it. Of course, human emotions are very normal, and Star Wars makes me very emotional because it has been one of the things that has kept me away from very severe depressions. So seeing Luke Skywalker as I knew him always, as a little child and then as a young man, saving all the crew, taking Grogu or Baby Yoda with him, seeing Luke Skywalker as a Jedi Master being back, with R2-D2, and then the very emotional scene when Din Djarin was saying goodbye to Grogu and he took off his helmet because of it. Not even mentioning the after-credit scene with Boba Fett killing Bib Fortuna and taking over Jabba's palace, and there was the like the little advertisement for the next year's The Book of Boba Fett. It made Star Wars great again, and it had made me feel good after a long time, and at least for a little bit. I don't need any more shows, TV shows, if I don't live to see them, because anything might happen. I don't care, because this is enough for me. This is enough to see Star Wars again. And the sequel trilogy could not have been called Star Wars, nor could Solo. And the Rogue One, the final scene was cool, but neither of these films had a Star Wars feeling to it. It didn't feel Star Wars from it. It's indescribable. It's just Star Wars. Star Wars has its own specific atmosphere. And I haven't felt Star Wars since the Clone Wars, basically. But as far as films go, I haven't felt Star Wars since episode 3, until they made The Mandalorian. And this episode, this season specifically, the second season, has been made in a way that each and every episode got better. It was better than the previous episode, and then the next episode was even better than the previous episode. And we got to know more and more and more, and we got to know that, oh God, they are going to expand on the expanded universe in the way that all the fans want. And in the end, there was the huge, we got mentions of Grand Admiral Thrawn, and there was Ahsoka Tano, and then we've got Boba Fett. Jesus fucking Christ. And then the ending came, and they saved Star Wars with Luke Skywalker. Why couldn't have they done it with the sequel trilogy? They would have made billions and billions of dollars, and everybody would love them. If they didn't allow Kathleen Kennedy to pursue her freaking SJW feminist agenda. So the sequel trilogy have never existed really for me and for my own personal inner canon. So fuck them. But what I saw yesterday was very special. And I'm actually showing the last 3 episodes of The Mandalorian Season 2 to my sister tonight, because she has been watching The Mando with, me. But she couldn't have seen the latest 3 episodes because she was busy. But so I'm showing it to her today, and I can't wait for it. Can't wait for her reactions, and I can't wait to just see it again. And it just made me feel very, very good on the inside, and it of course made me want to buy a lot more action figures. So yeah, see, that is it. That's the business aspect of it. That's what they should have done. If they make good product, all the fans will not only enjoy it and talk about it and come back to it, but the collectors will want to buy more merchandise. And they will make more money. I have no single piece of merchandise from the sequel trilogy because I am not invested in it. I don't like it. I don't want to use the age word, but I don't like it. As the horse from Ren and Stimpy said, "Oh sir, I don't like it." So no. You can see it behind me. There's Boba Fett helmet, there's Stormtrooper helmet right there, there's Darth Vader helmet. You've got Sideshow Collectibles and Hot Toys figures of Darth Maul and Count Dooku. You've got the old Sideshow Luke Skywalker, and you've got the bust of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Like, and you know, another figure of Obi-Wan Kenobi right there. You've got some of the action figurines from Star Wars, and it's all from the original films and the prequels, or the Clone Wars. So just, you know, just that's what you should do. What they did with Mandalorian, and not only the latest episode, but in general, just make good product, and you will be successful. So thank you, Dave Filoni. Thank you, Jon Favreau. Thank you, everybody who was involved in the making of Mandalorian Season 1 and 2. And especially the magical 3 minutes? 4 minutes? The final 4 minutes of yesterday's episode. Thank you for it. It was a beautiful early Christmas gift that made me feel hopeful. And from the very beginning, from Star Wars in 1977, Star Wars is all about hope. So it made me feel hope again. So yeah, that would be all from me, my friends. A very extremely long video. Jesus. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have been a lifelong Star Wars fan, if you just consider these things to be just films, if you're invested in the franchise as much as I am. If you feel the same, if you feel differently, let me know in the comments down below. I will be only glad to hear your thoughts and engage in an intelligent and educated discussion. And of course, please do not forget to like this video if you like it, or dislike this video if you don't like it, and subscribe to this unimportant channel of an unimportant geek talking about unimportant things. That will be all from me. See you soon. May the Force be with you, my friends. This is the way.